Welcome to the first Different Roots Radio episode of 2021. To help us get straight into the action, today we are joined by Matt Bloom, an Emmy-winning director. Matt discusses how Hollywood needs to be less whitewashed, perseverance in the film industry, and films after COVID. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Different Roots Radio on YouTube, Twitter, and our other channels.
Trippin' Aquafina, I'm sippin' 15, kept a weapon on me. Blow make digits, I'm on my business, stack chicken like what it's gon' be. Crew in the cut, hey, you want us red run when I tell a peace. Love is love. Love is love. Adios. Bendo with the switch again. Boy deliver like he heffin'. Core with digits, give him estimates. Somersaults for my Benjamins.
Thank you very much for coming into Different Roots Radio. We're joined by a wonderful guest by the name of Matt Bloom. He is an Emmy-winning BAFTA nominee, British director of TV, commercials, and short films, and music videos. And I kid you not, I did not write the intro, but it's directly from his IMDb. So this guy has his own IMDb page. And we honestly are in starstruck right now because I've never been this close to Hollywood.
Hollywood, big stepper. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
It's a real pleasure. It's great to be with you guys.
Yeah.
On a strange day where protesters have stormed the Capitol and we are living in a bad Micheal Bay movie. That's the day that we're living in today.
Man. But I'm going to call them rioters instead of protesters.
Or terrorists, I thought.
Terrorists.
You said keep it light today, so I thought I'd let you terrorists in the first minute of the show.
That came from CNN. I'm just quoting CNN.
They got it right for once.
Yeah. So, Matt, thank you very much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
We've read so much about you that the fact that you've been involved in over 30 hours of TV, so 60 episodes, being involved with BBC, ITV, Channel 4, multi-million-dollar productions. You've worked with a mentor of Baz Luhrmann, who is the director of Moulin Rouge and Romeo and Juliet. And you've also worked together on a short film that actually featured, guess who?
Who?
Baby Spice.
From the
Yes, Emma Bunton.
No way.
Yeah, like this guy. I would like to shake your hand just so I could be like, yes, I was touched by a Spice Girl.
I'm not gonna. That's one of the first CDs I ever bought. Like honestly,
Spice World.
Yeah, Spice. You know about Spice World.
Oh, I have a little sister that listens to Spice.
Yeah, you
World,
Spice World. I've got a little sister. That was my alibi as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Spice
yeah.
If you touch the screen now, you're like 1 degree of separation away from the Spice Girls.
I can feel it.
I spiced up your life.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about like how you got into this realm of in this film realm, and what kind of motivated you to do what you're doing.
I always loved movies when I was a kid, and I always imagined movies and stories, but my family didn't really have a lot of money for a camcorder or anything like that, so I made movies in my head. Being an only child, I talked to myself a lot, so everyone in the neighborhood thought I was crazy because I just sort of mumbled to myself. And then when I was 16, a charity helped me buy my first camera. It was the Prince's Trust, so it's Prince Charles's charity that helps people if they've got potential but not much money. So I got a camcorder from them, and then went to film school. And then started the really long slog into trying to hack my way into the industry, and that was the most difficult step, I think, of my life.
Honestly, like it's a very competitive industry, the film and entertainment industry. So the fact that you went through, I guess, the official route. So it was the International Film School in Wales that you went to, correct?
Yeah.
How did that help you break into the industry? Like, did you go through connections of the school, alumni, or you did a lot of volunteer work, or were you a showrunner kind of thing to start it
I'm
off?
afraid I have to say that the film school left me unemployable. They didn't teach me the right skills. And now I go into film schools and do master classes and try and teach them the things that I wish I'd been told when I was 19. But I left with some nice films, but really not knowing how to get a job or where to look for a job or the contacts. So I was kind of right back to square one, living with my folks and making short films and really naively posting them off to movie studios like, "Dear Mr. Warner Brothers," like in crayon, like, "Please watch my film." "Dear Mr. Cruz," posting them off. And, you know, they never got watched, and I was very depressed. And suddenly one of them got watched by 20th Century Fox, who passed it to Baz Luhrmann, and he'd just turned 40 and he wanted to give something back to a filmmaker, and he decided to mentor me. And he did a great act of kindness, because the idea was he was just going to go on the phone with me and just give me some advice. And then he changed his mind and he said, "Actually, that's not going to teach you anything. I'm going to come to wherever you live and we're going to make a short film together. And I'm going to put it on before the world premiere of my next movie."
Which was Moulin Rouge, right?
Which is Moulin Rouge, in 3 days' time. So I had a panic attack and then picked myself off the floor. And suddenly his limo arrives in Manchester. And I'm making this short film like I did all those years, with my friends and with my really very cheap camcorder and a microphone on a broom handle, gaffer taped. So it's cheap as hell. And then suddenly he turns up and the world's press turn up, and pretty much overnight that changed my life and my career.
That one film that you said you were making loads of short films, and then one of them got picked up. What did you feel that was different? Did you feel that you did a better job on that one, or do you think it was by chance? Because I had a friend who was a film writer, and he wanted to be a producer, director, and he did very similar to you. He made loads of short films, and he did it for about 5, 6, 7 years. And then after I said enough of this, and now he's in fashion and he sells designer bags and designer watches. So what made you stick at it, and what was the thing that made that film, do you think, different to all the other ones you made previously? Or do you think it was just luck?
It's a really great question. A lot of people give up. I think I didn't give up because my folks never told me to get a real job or to pay any rent. So having that support was huge. You know, my dad's an artist and my mom was very artistically minded. So they really supported me like that. And also I was completely delusional. I just thought, if I keep on making these films, someone's bound to watch it. I mean, stupid and delusional, but it sort of worked. And all of the films were bad, but they had a spirit about them, I guess. And that's what Baz saw in one of them. I mean, they were really bad. They were really cheaply made. But he said, "I can see we're a kindred spirit. I can see what you were trying to do. If you had money and resources, let me help you." And in just the 3 days that he was with me making the short film, something got in my head. So sort of a Britishness, a shyness in the way that I was filming was knocked out of me, and a confidence was given to me. And I've sort of have that now for the rest of my career. So he changed the way I shoot.
That's amazing. So would you say that your style of directing has changed significantly from your early days to what it is now? And if you are to articulate what kind of style you kind of home in now, what would it be?
I've always loved comedies and science fiction and kids stuff. That's what I always did do as short films, and that's what I do professionally now as TV and film and adverts. I guess just something was in me was holding back and was just a bit British and apologetic in the way that I was moving the camera. It always had a great sense of humor and had a spirit about it, but it's just odd, you know, and strange that in those 3 days that I was with this master filmmaker, he bashed that out of me. And it was like clearing a restraining bolt, and then suddenly I was, oh yeah, of course, that's how you can.
So you went from a little caterpillar, and then you had your cocoon, then you went to a butterfly, and you came out.
I was a butterfly. Maybe a sort of skanky moth. Pretty enough to be a butterfly, but it certainly a transformation happened. And what I found it really frustrating, because all the doors that were iron shut to me, because I was from Manchester and I didn't have any contacts or money, suddenly were flung open. And rather than making me happy, I was just thinking, actually, my work isn't any different than it was 2 weeks ago. You only like me because my name is attached to somebody famous.
Yeah.
And it was a big lesson. I mean, I don't think what happened was luck, because I had the perseverance and I had the madness to just keep on at it. But I know how a lot of people do give up. Like your friend is very, very easy to give up.
Two friends who actually, I just realized.
You got two friends.
No,
one more than I have.
This is one of them, and you're the second.
Whoa,
so
I'm getting paid to be here.
You two are my friends, right? No, I have two friends who were both in making films, and then now I just realized neither of them do it anymore. But they did it for a long time. We always thought they would be in that industry. They had so many short films, and then one or two got into film festivals, and then they thought that'd be their big break, but then it wasn't. And then over time, people just kind of grow up and they leave their dreams behind, and then I need to get a serious job now. But really, you just have to keep persevering.
Amongst that is like, it's trying to figure out for a lot of people, it's like follow your dreams, follow your passion, let that drive you even through the hardships kind of thing. So for you, Matt, if you were able to say, what are like the biggest obstacles or very common obstacles that you find that a lot of people have to overcome and that you overcame, and what kind of advice would you say to people to say, this is what you need to do, A, B, and Z, do this, and you should be able to overcome this obstacle? What, if you have any examples that come to mind?
We say Z, A, B.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you say A, B, and C or A, B, and Z?
Doesn't matter. It's just
good, because either way it's Z. It's Z.
Either way, the steps, A, B, C.
I have two big pieces of advice, and I feel very passionately about both of them. And they seem slightly contradictory, but I feel very, very strongly about them. First of all, it can seem like this is an industry that isn't for you, for everybody. It seems like a closed club that's only for certain kinds of people. And I think, as we've seen with BAFTA's so white and Oscars so white, when you look at the lineup of the winners, sort of looks like a certain type of person. And for me, it felt it's people from a richer part of London that get to do this. And there are qualities that make a great director. Something to do with confidence and storytelling, a bit of delusion, a bit of diplomacy, geeky love of cameras, working with actors. I can tell you categorically, those qualities have absolutely nothing to do with gender, race, class, sexuality, nothing. You can be a great storyteller, whatever your background. And I feel that isn't just me being politically correct or saying something that sounds good. It's just the truth. And at the same time, the problem with this younger generation, maybe 20 and younger, is they do treat the arts as though if I dream it and wish it, it will happen for me. And that's sort of Simon Cowell's fault. 2 weeks on X Factor, and my cat died and I'm really sad. I'm doing this for my dead cat, and Coldplay's Fix You's playing in the background, and I deserve to be a pop star. I feel very passionate.
It's the best. I'm special, right?
I always in the shower and they say I'm really good.
Who else is in the shower with you?
Who is the they?
Give me feedback like this. Is it your support group? Your barber?
I have a big support bubble.
It is so important that you treat any of the arts, and I'm saying this to anybody, whether you're a musician or a DJ or a filmmaker or an actor, that you treat it as though you were an athlete or a medical student. So think of it in those terms. A medical student would do 7 years at medical school and then 4 years as a junior doctor, working 16 hours a day. And only before they get to be a doctor, before they do another 5 years to be a surgeon. An athlete would be up at 4 a.m. running for 3 hours before they have breakfast and then run for another 8 hours. If you think of the arts in those terms, then you won't, first of all, you won't give up so easily, and second of all, you'll think of it as a muscle or a language to learn, like learning complicated French or trying to put on muscle at the gym. And too many people don't think of it in those terms. They think just because they wish it, it'll happen. And I believe in self-fulfilling prophecies, and I believe in positive thinking, but it has to go alongside hard work.
Mm.
and the dedication.
You talked about how it's not easy for people of different races or classes or genders to typically win awards such as Emmys and Oscars. I know that it's mostly a male-dominated industry. From 2011 to 2008, it's been about 92 to 95% male. Percentage of directors were male, and in 2019, it only then reduced to 85% having male directors. So I know like there's some really big female directors out there, such as Kathryn Bigelow. So yes, she did Point Break and Zero Dark 30. We have Soffia Coopla, the daughter of the director of The Godfather. She did movies such as Lost in Translation. And then most recently, I guess, is Patty Jenkins. So she's the wonderful woman behind, guess what? Wonder Woman.
Oh,
yes, Wonder Woman. Both the first one and the latest one, Wonder Woman 1984. So we have big names like that, but they're not brought up in conversations as much as other people such as Martin Scorsese or or Micheal Bay and things like that. So that's about gender, and I know like there's also race too. You've also touched on it being mostly white oriented and people of low classes not making it into recognition. So we're quite lucky as Black people. Now we have our own kind of awards. So
yeah,
right?
But I also feel that sometimes the pay gap is different in Hollywood. Like sometimes certain actresses won't get paid as much as actors, or like Black actresses won't get paid as much as white actresses.
I'm guessing you're probably referring to How to Get Away with Murder. What's the actress's name?
I'm thinking about the one from, is it ViolaDavis?
ViolaDavis, yes. Davis, yeah. She actually said a quote on Ellen DeGeneres about, I've worked as hard as Meryl Streep.
That's it. And they say she's like the Black Meryl Streep, and she's like, why don't you pay me like the Black Meryl Streep then? Like, why don't you pay me like Meryl Streep? So I think there's a lot of that. I mean, it's the same in a lot of different areas, but I feel like in Hollywood and in films, it's a little bit more predominant, but that's just kind of how the industry's been. Do you feel like it's changing, or do you think do you see that in England as much as well?
I think that we are 10 or 15 years behind other professions like law and medicine when it comes to diversity. Now, we've made huge strides in front of the camera. You could absolutely argue not enough, but for representation in front of the camera, there's been good progress. And yet when I walk on any set of mine, certainly where I don't have control over who I crew, anywhere in the world, there'll be women doing women's jobs, and I mean that with big inverted commas, and only one person of color. So obviously something's gone astray there. Do I think that the industry is institutionally sexist and racist? Probably not more than any other industry or society as a whole. I do think that we just haven't encouraged people. We've sort of set a standard, and we haven't thrown the net wide enough. And Oscars and BAFTA's solution to this is to have a lot more Best Picture categories, so that they'll cast the net very wide. I think things like that are good if they work. They're a bit patronizing. I would prefer it if we put an overemphasized. Actually, studios and organizations put their hands in their pockets and gave a lot more money to education and training to underrepresented groups, to show that it is a world for everybody. But there's huge work to be done.
Yeah.
Also, it has to be said that the counter arguments to that, I'm not saying these are my arguments at all, but the counter arguments are Jordan Peterson, the Canadian author, would say that women want naturally to do more caring jobs like nursing. They don't want to go into sort of long hours and vicious jobs like the fire service or the military or TV. I'm not saying that's my view. And the other argument is, if you're a first generation immigrant, there's no way you're going to tell your kids to go into something as precarious as the entertainment industry.
Exactly, because the chances of success are even less, right?
Yeah.
So go into the roles that are kind of expected of you, which are
where
higher
you can
success.
study hard, and then you should be able to achieve a good job.
Exactly.
I mean, that's really sensible. That's cliche about Indian parents saying become a lawyer or a doctor. That's really smart to tell your kids, if you don't have much money and you're coming to a new country, of course you're going to tell your kids to do something that education is relatively cheap, so is going to guarantee a return like that.
Exactly.
It's really difficult to make it in the entertainment industry. You need a lot of perseverance. You need a lot of lean years when you're not going to earn much, and that takes a lot of guts, and it also takes a lot of financial backing from richer parents, or as I had, very, very understanding parents. So it's I don't know how we solve these problems.
Well, like we said, it's us having these kind of discussions, and then hopefully these kind of discussions become more prevalent in the society, and it causes changes in the higher ups.
And finally, at a lot of award shows, I do see people in Hollywood or then actors and men talking about this. Like, it'll be randomly, but you'll see from time to time, they're like, how come no more black actors, or how come no more these kind of actors, or when no more female actors are getting. So I know some people in Hollywood do talk about it, they're a bit more outspoken, but again,
there was a big advocate in Chadwick Boseman, right? So he time and time and did it again on every single award. Says, he took a privilege and honor to be able to represent a minority that's not readily seen on the screen.
I still remember when HalleBerry won her first big award, she had a really big moving speech about it as well. So I think if just by showing the talent, and over time it'll change.
Yeah, let's hope. And then actually now bringing it a little closer to home, talking about the UK industry, looking at the film industry in UK and the production. You know what I think we can do with this? It's game time show. All right. So on today's quiz, we have Matt, who will be our contestant today. Tumaine, would you want to assist him, or you want to
challenge him?
Challenge him. So head to head.
Head to head.
Head to head. All right. So we'll go head to head. So let me turn away so you're not.
Are these all acting? Are these all like?
These all film related. So it's
you're probably gonna win. But.
Yes. So
okay.
So in terms of the UK market, in 2019, how many releases or film releases came out? So I'm gonna let you say in the hundreds. So it was 300 movies came out, 500 that got released in cinema. So this is time before COVID. So I'm using this year, that particular year, because we had a full calendar year unaffected by
2019. How many films in the UK
came out in UK?
UK films.
No, not UK films, just films that got released in the cinema. So Matthew, you want to go first?
153.
153.
If that's right, then I literally am screwed in this. I have no chance. I'm retired now. Where's my flag?
All right.
I would have gone higher, so I'm going to say, because I watch a lot of films.
Yes.
I would say 154. Joking. I'll go for 200. I'll go for 200.
Right, so Matt went in the hundreds and you went in 200. So it's 764. So
look at that.
Yeah,
so that's like US now.
Back.
Now that is a sore loser right there. Guys,
get up and leave.
Let it be known.
The first question.
He took an hour. He had to leave. If he comes back with food, I'm going to be really upset. Okay, he doesn't.
Oh, he's coming back with boxing gloves.
We're serious now. Challenge me on my territory.
All I did was a little sparring, and he came back with gloves.
And the worst part is he's in Manchester. He'll find you.
That's a good point, actually. But your door's locked, right?
I don't think so.
Hide our IP address real quick.
All right. So, of the 764 movies that came out in the UK, how many of them were actually UK films? So now I've given you a better indicator.
300. No. 200 again.
200.
Yeah,
And
because
200.
I
America
say 199.
Look at this guy. This guy comes with gloves ready, and Tmaine, his hands are down, ready for a beating.
No.
And guess what? He gave you a beating.
He came in 1 point below me.
Not even 1 point. The actual number is 191.
Oh, you're just
So he was.
He's
within. What is it like percentage? Minor percentage.
Dude, I was within like 8, so it's fine. All right, so it's 1-1.
All right, and then of the UK films that came out, so remember these numbers are getting smaller for you guys. Just which of these? How many of them were backed by studios, and how many were backed by independent films?
Okay.
So we had Rishi Kapoor come join us a few weeks ago and talk about independent films.
TV, talking about independent films.
So you should have a little bit of insight for our listeners.
I'd say 140.
Okay.
Is that 114 or 140?
140.
140 for independent or 140 for studio?
For studios.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
So higher for studios.
Okay, I'll go for 140 independent. No, wait, no, that's ridiculous. No, that doesn't make sense.
It's a reverse. You just did reverse.
Not that many. I'll go for 120 independent.
Okay, so here we are. So
he
Matt,
said more studio. I said more independent.
Okay, so Matt, Tmaine, you punched. Matt, he weaved. And then Matt threw a punch. And then Tmaine countered and gave him an uppercut. Oh, and guess who won? Tmaine's punch landed.
Anthony Joshua. Undefeated heavyweight champion of the world.
So let me educate, man. It's not always about you winning.
Sorry.
All right.
I told you I was feeling competitive today.
All right. So it's actually 168 films were backed by independent studios, and only 23 were backed by a studio. So so not a lot of movies make it into big names like Disney and all that stuff, right? So it's the guys that know Rishi Kapoor and his industry.
You should know this, Matt. You've made loads of independent films yourself, so you should know.
I'm going to get my.
You probably made about 140 independent films yourself before you made it famous. So you know how the industry is. This was really
You've seen The Godfather. I'm going to have you whacked.
Oh, no. He sleeps with the fishes now.
in the river in Manchester.
In the canals.
In the canals.
Oh, take the cannolis.
Actually, I've got a question for you, Matt. Are we still quizzing? I won, didn't I? I won, champion. And now that I won, I get to ask you a question.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm waiting because I don't want to talk about COVID because it sucks. But with the film industry being all locked down and it's harder to shoot, I've been waiting because I watch a lot of stuff on Netflix and Amazon movies for a film when they're wearing masks, like in the actual film where people are actually wearing face masks like we do in society. Can you see that happening? Is that something that people are going to avoid because we don't want to be reminded of it? Because if we're in lockdown for another year, how are we not going to have films where people are wearing...
You're even bringing up like the whole Tom Cruise outburst that he had on set from MI7, right?
Quite right. That's how I feel in Tesco's every day. Where are your masks? So there'll be a couple of movies that are like disease movies, like Contagion, that will be like horror movies almost, just to remind us of it. And certainly soap operas have to include it because otherwise they just look ignorant. But I think after the First and Second World War, the kind of movies that really took off were escapist fantasies like Wizard of Oz. And I think we're going to see a lot of that. And it'll be Disney's world for the taking. They already have most of the world, but I think the fact that they excel in escapist big blockbusters, I think we're going to need that more than ever. There's no way that the first time you go back to the cinema after the crisis, it's people with masks on and it's depressing, and it's the last thing we want to see. So there'll be a couple of good horror movies made by major directors, I imagine, that really tackle the subject. The same with Trump as well. I think there'll be a couple of great Trump movies, but
I believe that's already been made. It's called The Purge.
Yeah.
Same way, it is our life now, so we gotta really accept it. So speaking of our lives now, I guess social issues, or like what's going on with
The world today.
With the world today. So as we've kind of alluded to earlier, the whole Capitol building being bum rushed by individuals and almost successfully predicted by The Simpsons.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true, but apparently The Simpsons predicted this guy. We're going to put the picture up, but this guy with the helmet and
the horn helmet
and his tattoos, and they got exactly the same picture of him in The Simpsons.
Not for nothing, I want you to imagine another scenario where Black Lives Matter protesters broke into the Capitol building, and I want you to imagine what the massacre would be like, and what the police would have been wearing.
That far. As soon as you see the picture of them all climbing the walls, they would have just been picking them off with like rifles and stuff. I don't even understand.
You know that to be the truth. And it's amazing because they walked in and then they were allowed to wander out again.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then stealing stuff, picking up items like little trophies. It's ridiculous.
You know, and only one person died.
And she was a former, and they said former soldier or something. And then
Navy SEAL.
And I saw all her Instagram posts, and she was inciting lots of. She's like, we
she
need to
was very
riot.
spirited.
She was very spirited. She was enthusiastic. But they said
Pro-Trump.
But
it is worth noting that America has become a movie. And I don't mean that as a joke. I think a lot of Americans talk as though they're on camera, as though they're characters in a movie, because they've been so influenced by reality shows and movies that all of their influences come from imagining that they're being watched. And everybody films each other for Instagram so often. And we have a president who's directly out of satire and out of a comedy. And we have events like this that are just so fantastical that it's like America's become our entertainment channel.
The funniest thing is, a few years ago, I was in Israel visiting my sister, and there's a cartoon which obviously is not on Netflix here, but they had it in Israel, and it's called Our President, and it's about President Trump, and it's just him. And it's so ridiculous. They make fun of him, and he has a really silly voice, and they draw him like all his proportions are overinflated and exaggerated. And it's so funny. You're like, and then he went into office, and half the things they joked about, like he actually said them or worse. So it's like, it is like a movie, because people write cartoons about this, they write jokes, and then it actually happens. And even when we were like, oh, Black Lives Matters and the protests and the marching, they said, oh, we're being peaceful, we're just marching. But this is literally, you storm the building and one person has been shot. I don't understand it. When unarmed Black people are getting shot all the time, but these people are storming Capitol building where Congress is, and it's crazy.
Do you remember just 5 years ago, we had the first Black president, and he managed 8 years without incident. He didn't cheat on his wife that we know about. He was articulate, he was inspiring. And it's like, it feels like a parallel universe to
it really is.
That's what makes it a movie.
And it's crazy, like, how we get from there to where we are now, like what allows people to just jump ship essentially just like that and lose their minds and lose their sense.
You have to accept that it's a reaction against him. I mean, it's hardly as though Obama was a radical president. He was a sensible, measured, articulate, inspiring, good president. But obviously passions were so strong with a certain half of America.
I'm trying to look up this one. You guys talk about how this is exactly like a TV show, and Americans are characters from a film. I swear to you not, January 1st, 2021, Netflix came out with a mockumentary about 2020, and it actually talks about exactly what we're saying now, where it's just, there are different personality types that just, some people take all their news from social media, and they didn't develop a lot of their beliefs solely on that, and not taking real information. And then you have presidents and prime ministers that are making irrational decisions and
fake news. Yeah,
fake news. So
you have newspapers which have their own ties and their own opinions and their own loyalties.
The film that I was referring to was called Death to 2020. So it's only
the Charlie Brooker,
Yes, exactly. It's only 53 minutes long, so it's only
on Netflix.
On Netflix.
Netflix and chill. All right.
What's with you and chilling? Like, is this your social bubble?
Well, lockdown. That's
with your barber.
With your barber. You hear that? He's saying, take a haircut.
My barber is in my bubble, in my support bubble, so it's fine. I need to get this sorted out.
All right. It's crazy. Like films are now existing based on 2020, and making fun or bringing light, I guess, to the situation in a different way.
2021, guys, we've got to just start it strong. And just what I learned, the one lesson I learned in life is don't be surprised by anyone, what they do or what they don't do. And then I found that like gets me through a lot, because people are like, oh, I can't believe this person let me down, or I can't believe you would do that. And then I learned a long time ago, if you just are not surprised by anything, then you get along with life a lot better. And it works. Like Trump does something, I'm like, I'm not surprised it's Trump. He can do what he like. Everyone has free will. So yeah, never put people in a box, because people are very unpredictable.
It's true.
And wild.
Nice.
So don't leave me in a freaking cage, because I might go wild on you.
Is that positive or negative?
What?
Is that pessimist or?
Oh, it's reality, because I'm a very optimistic person generally, and I always think the best will happen, but I don't rely on people too much. Like I don't expect people to give me a lift somewhere. And at the same time, when like if you don't give, people always get let down, especially in relationships. They're like, I can't believe he didn't buy me flowers on Valentine's Day. He just bought me chocolates. Well, people, you deal with it. Like don't put so much on people. Like don't
reveal too much now.
I'm not scared.
Support bubble.
Someone I know. Like, my friend John. John Jones. Yeah.
Isn't that your middle name, John?
Oh, dear.
Yeah. So thanks, Matt, for coming in today. We really appreciate everything you've brought insights to, and we're able to laugh and share, and also get deeper insights to the challenges and the pros that happen in the film industry. So I guess now we just want to give you 1 minute to be able to give an advice to inspiring directors or people that want to get into the film industry, what that advice would be.
To stop them from quitting last minute, like a lot of people I know.
Yeah. A lot? Do you mean your two friends?
My only two friends.
All right. Are you ready?
My advice for any artist, whether you're a musician, actor, director, or DJ, is you're a storyteller. That's the main thing. As long as you keep story at the heart of what you do, as long as you're honest with your characters, as long as you share an emotion that you have inside you, you will never fail. Everything else is just hard work and industry. I want you to think of your career in terms of what would a young athlete or a young potential surgeon be doing right now? How many years study, how much hard work would they be facing right now? And apply that to your art. And absolutely don't let anybody tell you that you can't be part of this club, that you are not right for the industry. It is open to everybody. The industry welcomes great storytellers, and I hope it can absolutely be something that you can be part of. It's my passion in life, and I think it absolutely could be yours as well.
Thank you very much, Matt, for being able to share that words of wisdom, and hopefully it hit some heartstrings or hit home with those that need to hear it. And looking for the next, I guess, Chadwick Boseman, Leonardo DiCaprio, ViolaDavis, Denzel Washington.
Yeah. Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Jordan Peele. So, or the next Matt Bloom.
Yes.
Yeah. So we thank you very much for being able to share that. So for our listeners, yeah, go on.
Yeah, I have nothing to plug. That's the great thing. It's always great when you come into something like this, and I have nothing to sell, nothing to plug. I don't have a book or a website that I want to sell to people, other than the idea that I want more people to become filmmakers and throw the net wider and for more people to become
Manchester's
part of the industry that I love.
Manchester's proud of you.
So, but I guess if people do want to reach out to you or do some research on you, other than your IMDb page, is there
I'm on Twitter and Instagram as Matt Bloom Films, MattBloom Films. And if you're serious about coming into the industry, send me your short films. And if you're really serious about it, we can talk about you coming to shadow me on sets sometime in the future when the world turns the right way up.
Yes, and hopefully it'll be in UK and away from the troubles of US. And if it's with a special, and I'll
Gary, baby, all good.
Yeah, posh.
Melky.
even though she's spoken for, but it's all right.
We can take it.
All right. Thanks a lot, Matt, for coming in. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Have a good
Take care,
evening.
guys.
Peace.
See ya. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Different Roots Radio on YouTube, Twitter, and other channels. Our talks air on Monday every fortnight. One love.
Peace.